Okay, thank you very much for joining my session. It's about towards multi-hazard early warning system and for tourism and coastal communities in Lombok Island. This is part of my PhD research, and this is a small portion of my last chapter after 5 years doing research in Indonesia. I'm from Charles Darwin University, and I'm also the consultant for JICA in the National Disaster Management Agency in Jakarta. Okay, so for my introduction, we know that there was, in 2018, the start of my PhD research, there was 3 major disasters that hit Indonesia, which shook the landscape and need for a multi-hazard early warning system. There was the Banten volcano eruption, and that triggered the tsunami in the Banten area. There was the earthquake in Lombok, and the final one was the earthquake and liquefaction and tsunami in the Palu region. At that time, at the exact time when Palu occurred, I was currently in Japan, in Fukuoka, doing a conference or presentation about inclusive multi-hazard early warning system in Indonesia. So that was a big deal. In 2018, through those meetings, there was an urgency that Indonesia needs a multi-hazard early warning system. So they pushed for more regulatory at the national level, institutionalization of in the national level. But in my research, I want to see how's the progress at the local level, and in this case, I chose Lombok Island. If you look at the context of Lombok Island as one of the tourist destinations in Indonesia, besides Bali, we see there's many issues, and especially when a disaster hits, the tourism industry will also be affected as one of their livelihoods in Indonesia, and it creates a big problem. Because when we talk about early warning system, sometimes we talk about early warning system to protect the existing communities, but we don't really think about early warning system only to protect the tourists or to protect foreigners. Maybe because the early warning system is all in Indonesian language, or is only known by the locals. Yeah? So that's the introduction, and there are many factors that's important within the context. Yeah? For the methodology, we had interviews with the local government agencies, the local disaster management agencies. We had with the local meteorological agencies, even with the volcano agencies, the monitoring post. We also had with the education department, agriculture department, to see how the early warning system are used at the local level, even with the education department. And then, because we know that early warning system is not just a government product or a public good, but it also needs to interact with the communities. So it's very important that research on early warning system also involves the communities. So we did a focus group discussion with 9 villages in the Lombok area to see whether they utilize the early warning systems, whether it's from BMKG, PVMBG, or from the local emergency operations centers. At the same time, part of the methodology was to understand the 24-hour process of the monitoring. So I also stayed in the volcano monitoring post and the emergency operations center for 24 hours within a week to see how the operators and the monitors monitor the multi-hazard early warning system and how they distribute the information. Next. The basic framework for this research, it starts from the Sunday, but it starts before from the people-centered early warning system in Bonn. And then since there's a Sunday framework, the WMO has tried to develop on that for a people-centered multi-hazard early warning system with the 4 quadrants. First is about trying to understand the risks, the monitoring of the hazard, the preparedness, and the dissemination, and then finally the capacity to respond. Now, in this we see that the importance of whatever system or whatever equipment we use to see what's the legal framework. So how's the governance of these multi-hazard early warning system? We will see at the start, at the end of 2019, BMKG tried to push for a legal framework for the strengthening of the tsunami, earthquake and tsunami early warning system. At that time, we wanted to have a legal framework for the multi-hazard early warning system, but it hasn't been implemented well. So we can see for the multi-hazard early warning system, it hasn't been established well. At the local level, we see good examples in Aceh, in Yogyakarta, in Padang. They have the local disaster management law on early warning systems, and also in Bali. But for Lombok, they didn't have this local, provincial, or district regulation on early warning system. So there was no legal basis for it. One thing that was positive in the Lombok case was they had a local regulation concerning the establishment of a community-based early warning system. So you can see that the priority for the Lombok Island was how to utilize this community-based early warning system in the field, whether it's based from support from international organization or from the ground up. Okay, next. Now, by understanding the framework, we try to find what's the existing instruments that they have. This is a very, if you look at this picture, you will think that all of this picture is from the same location. You have a siren, you have a warning sign on the side of the beach, and then you have the evacuation center, yeah? But it's not. Due to improper governance and improper planning, this is in Ampenan, this is in Mataram, in the capital city of Lombok Island. This Awas Bencana Tsunami is in Kuta, the southern part of Lombok. And then finally you have the tsunami evacuation center is in north of Lombok. And you can see that with improper framework and improper planning, you can see they're just building instruments, building infrastructure without any integration. So this created problems in the community. It created problems in the implementation of the multi-hazard early warning system in the local level. Through the FED, there was something very important. After a large earthquake, it experienced in many other places as well. After a large earthquake, there will be a loss of electricity, also a loss of communication. Now, because there was multiple aftershocks occur, the community had a new sense that if the lights go off, an earthquake or a tsunami is going to come. So that's what the community started to feel. Well, that was the misperception of this. So what happened was the communities, suddenly the lights came off, suddenly everybody just runs out of the village trying to run to higher ground. And then the authorities said, the sirens didn't go on, why do you guys run? And then they said, it's because that usually when the lights go off, the disaster occurs, but it's supposed to be the other way around. Yeah? And then another issue was related with the evacuation center, the importance of law enforcement. When the National Disaster Management Agency and the Public Works established the evacuation center, it wasn't properly maintained, it wasn't properly handed over to the local government, even to the local communities. So there wasn't any proper handover, there wasn't any proper ownership from the communities of this evacuation center. So there was no maintenance, and it was left neglected. So when the large earthquake occurred, 7, magnitude scale. The stairs damaged. There was cracks in the building, and then it just become abandoned. So the intention to save people from an earthquake or tsunami at that time, it didn't fulfill here. But through the lessons in the 2018, there's many improvements now. Yeah, the final one. So how do we try to decentralize this? There's now the BMKG has many cooperation with the local government. They have cooperation with 34 provinces, a couple of government ministries, and also with NGOs. And then this is a specific multi-hazard early warning system for geohydrological hazard in Indonesia. And we see that there must be a change from decentralizing the multi-hazard early warning system to make it into more customized. So the early warning system that you say should be customized based on your needs. And then the final one, it should be personalized. So after the decentralized process occurred, after the customization, more important, it should be personalized. How does this early warning system can help you save your own family or yourself instead of making an early warning system for the whole province? And then just the final slide is my conclusion, is that this early warning system is important, especially to be decentralized at the local level in the coastal communities. And it's important that there is effective governance and accountability for the procurement and implementation of early warning systems. It's also important to enhance the understanding and communication about the risk in the area, so that there's no misunderstanding about the early warning system. And finally, it's important about the ability for the community to respond, whether it's through drills or stuff like that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rahman. I would like to invite directly questions from the audience. Any questions? Yes, please.
Thank you for your presentations. I'm just wondering about the facilities of the, let's say, it's the Tsunami Evacuation Center.
Yeah.
So when we saw like from Ibu Kursina slides, we can clearly see the building is like, how to say, elaborating the inclusiveness of the disadvantaged people by making like kind of a ramp, something like that. But I don't think I can't see that in your case, like in Lombok. So could you please explain and tell me more about the facilities? Is it really good at making the inclusiveness of the people, something like that? So just to make us know.
Yeah, for the availability of ramps, it was designed with ramps, but after the large earthquake, all of the stairs and ramps just collapsed. Yeah, and then on the day it was no longer used. And for the facilities for toilets, everything was already available. But from the construction until the actual disaster, it wasn't maintained properly. So like, it wasn't used by the government, it wasn't used by the local people, and it was just still like under construction. So it was a big loss. At the start, for the case of that, after there was a destruction after the big earthquake, there was indication of fraud and mismanagement of funds of the construction of the building. But after police investigation, there was no indication. So the allegation was lifted. So it's a good. So I don't know where the problem was, whether it's a corruption issue, but what I know is that it's an accountability issue, and maybe for other tsunami buildings, like in Aceh, in Pangandaran, in various areas in Indonesia, they need to recheck after 5 years of construction whether the integrity is still intact. If not, this could occur again in Lombok. Yeah.
And for that, I say thank you very much, Muti Rahman, for your nice presentation. Thank you. So yeah, let's move to the next one. Muhammad Rizki.